So today we're going to be reading Dear Martin by Nick Stone, and we're going to read one chapter of this book. So let's start with part 1, chapter 1, um, chapter 1 on page number 3. From where he's standing across the street, Justice can see her, Mellow Taylor, ex-girlfriend, slumped over beside her, bends on the damp concrete of the Farm Fresh parking lot. She's missing a shoe, and the contents of her purse are scattered around her like the guts pulled party popper. He knows she's stone drunk, but this is too much, even for her. Just shakes his head, remembering the judgment all over his best friend's Manny's face, as he left Manny's house not 15 minutes ago. The walk symbol appears. As he approaches, she opens her eyes, and he waves and pulls his earbud out just in time to hear her say, "What the hell are you doing here?" Justice asks himself the same question as he watches her try, and fail, to shift to her knees. She falls over sideways and hits her face against the car door. He drops down and reaches for her cheek, which is as red as the candy apple paint job. Damn, Mello, are you okay? She pushes his hand away. Why do you care? Stung. Justice takes a deep breath. He cares a lot, obviously. If he didn't, he wouldn't have walked a mile from Manny's house at 3 in the morning. Manny's of the opinion that Mello's the worst thing that's ever happened to Just, so of course he refused to give his boy a ride. All to keep his drunken disaster of an ex from driving. He should walk away right now. Justice should. But he doesn't. Jessa called me, he tells her. That's skank. Don't be like that, babe. She only called me because she cares about you. Jessa had planned to take Mello home herself, but Mel threatened to call the cops and say she'd been kidnapped if Jessa didn't drop her at her car. Mello can be a little dramatic when she's drunk. I'm totally unfollowing her, she says, case in point. In life and online, nosy bitch. Justice shakes his head again. I just came to make sure you get home okay. That's when it hits Justice that while he might succeed into getting Mello home, he has no idea how he'll get back. He closes his eyes as Manny's words ring through his head. This Captain Save-A-Ho thing is gonna get you in trouble, dog. He looks Mello over. She's now sitting with her head leaned back against the car door, half asleep, mouth open. He sighs. Even drunk, Just can't deny it. Mello's the finest girl he's ever laid eyes on, not to mention hands on. She starts to tilt, and Justice catches her by the shoulders to keep her from falling. She startles, looking at him wide-eyed, and Just can see everything about her that initially caught his attention. Mello's dad is his Hall of Fame NFL linebacker. Bing, black dude. But her mom is from Norway. She got Miss Taylor's milky Norwegian complexion, wavy hair the color of honey, and amazing green eyes that are kind of purple around the edge. But she has really full lips, a small waist, crazy curvy hips, and probably the nicest behind Just has ever seen in his life. That's part of his problem. He gets too tripped up by how beautiful she is. He never would have dreamed a girl as fine as her would be into him. Now he's got the urge to kiss her, even though her eyes are red and her hair is a mess, and she smells like vodka and cigarettes and weed. But when he goes to push her hair out of her face, she shoves his hand away. Don't touch me, Justice. She starts shifting her stuff around on the ground, lipstick, Kleenex, tampons, and one of those circular thingies with the makeup in one half and the mirror in the other. And a flask. Ugh, where are my keys? Justice spots them in the front of the back tire and snatches them up. You're not driving, Mello. Give 'em. She swipes off the keys but falls to his arms instead. Justice props her against the car and gathers the rest of her stuff to put back in her bag. which is large enough to hold a week's worth of groceries. What is with the girls in purses and the size of duffel bags? He unlocks the car, tosses the bag on the floor and of the floor of the back seat, and tries to get Mello off the ground. Then everything goes really wrong, really fast. First, she throws up all over the hoodie Justice is wearing, which belongs to Manny, who specifically said, "Don't come back here with throw up on my hoodie." Perfect. Just take off the sweater and just takes off the sweater and tosses it in the backseat. When he tries to pick up Mello again, she slaps him hard. "Leave me alone, Justice," she says. "I can't do that, Mel. There's no way you'll make it home if you try to drive yourself." He tries to lift her up by the armpits and she spits in his face. He considers walking away again. He could call her parents, stick her keys in his pocket, and bounce. Oak Ridge is probably the safest neighborhood in Atlanta. She'd be fine for 25 minutes. She'd be fine for the 25 minutes it would take Miss Taylor to get here. But he can't. Despite Manny's assertion that Mello needs to suffer some consequences for once, leaving her here all vulnerable does not seem like the right thing to do. So he picks her up and tosses her over his shoulder. Mello responds in her usual delicate fashion. She screams and beats him on the back with her fist. Justice struggles to get the back door open and lowering her into the car when he hears the whoop of a short siren and sees blue lights. In a few seconds, it just takes a police car to screech to a stop behind him. Justice settles Mello into the backseat. Now she's gone catatonic. Justice can hear the approaching footsteps, but he stays focused on getting Mello strapped in. He wanted to be clear to the cop that she wasn't going to drive so she wouldn't be in even worse trouble. Before he can get his head out of the car, he feels a tug on his shirt and is janked backwards. His head smacks the door frame just before a hand clamps down on the back of his neck. His upper body slams onto the trunk with so much force he bites the inside of his cheek and his mouth fills with blood. Just swallows, head spinning, unable to get his bearings. The sting of cold metal around his wrist pulls him back into reality. Handcuffs. It hits him. Mel's drunk beyond belief in the back seat of a car she fully intended to drive. Just is the one in handcuffs. The cop shoves him into the ground beside the police cruiser and asks if Justice understands his rights. Justice doesn't remember hearing any rights, but his ears had been ringing for the 2 blows to the head, so maybe he missed them. He swallowed more blood. "Officer, this is a big misunderstanding," he starts to say, but he doesn't get to finish because the officer hits him in the face. "Don't you say shit to me, you son of a... I knew your punk was up to no good when I saw you walking down the road with that goddamn hood on." So the hood was a bad idea. Earbuds too. Probably would have noticed he was being trailed without them. "But officer, you keep your mouth shut." The cop squat and gets right into Justice's face. "I know your kind. Punks like you wander the streets of nice neighborhoods searching for prey. You just couldn't resist the pretty white girl who locked her keys in the car, could ya? Except that doesn't even make sense. If Mel hadn't locked her keys in the car, Just wouldn't have been able to get her inside, would he?" Justice finds the officer's nameplate, Castillo. It read, "Through the guy's look like a regular white dude. Mama told him how to handle this type of situation." Though he must admit he never expected to actually need the advice. Be respectful, keep the anger in check, make sure the police can see your hands. Though that's impossible right now. "Officer Castillo, I mean you know this risk. I told your punk to shut up. He wishes he could see Mello. Get her to tell this cop the truth, but Jude is blocking his view. Now, if you know what's good for you, you won't move or speak. Resistance will only land you in deeper. Got it?" Cigarette breath and flecks of spit hit Justice's face as the cop speaks, but Justice fixes his gaze on the glowing green F of the Farm Fresh sign. Look at me when I'm talking to you, boy. He grabs Justice's chin. I asked you a question. Justice swallows, meets the cold blue of Officer Castillo's eyes clear his throat. Yes, sir, he says. I got it. Now, that's the end. And then chapter 2, we can learn very much and come up with a very, very logical learning advice from this chapter. And I feel like we can keep learning on by reading more and learning so much more.